Desperate times call for desperate measures. If you're stuck in addiction, or maybe you've been alcohol free for some time and just need a reminder, this video is for you. Welcome to the channel. My name is Josh, living life alcohol free. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, thank you so much for being here. Today's topic is desperation, where I was with my drinking. Maybe you can resonate with it and it'll help you on your journey. That's my hope and that's my plan, is to share my story with you guys as I have for the last year and a half, but go into great detail about the very beginning of my alcohol-free journey and just the weeks leading up to it. The first and foremost thing was I was struggling hardcore. I was drinking at noon every day. I was drinking all day, beer after beer, sometimes incorporating hard liquor. And I was ending my nights just blacking out and needing more escape. And I wasn't finding the solace in the alcohol that I used to. So I was leaning on hard liquor more. And I was leaning on starting to drink earlier in the day. And when I quit, needless to say, during the pandemic, well, I was off of work, and that was really the first and foremost thing that really was the catalyst to me quitting, because it opened up my eyes to just how much I was drinking when I couldn't return the cans and bottles and they were accumulating in my garage. And every time I'd walk in there and empty a bag and put it to the side, I would think, man, this is going into my body. This is insane. This is like a case of beer a day. How can I even hang with that? I mean, I didn't typically drink a case of beer a day when I was drinking pretty much my whole 27 years of drinking. I might have a case every couple days, total, but not a day. And man, that was just wearing on me. And I got to a point where I would go a week or so drinking every day, and I would get to the end of that week and I would drink too much hard liquor, and I would wake up and I would have just high pulse. It wouldn't calm down, anxiety through the roof, headache, nausea, and all the rest of it. And I would take a day off, and but the next day I would start that process over again, and I would drink all week again, get to the end of the week, and I would drink that hard liquor again, to the point where if I was only drinking a little bit, it might not have been a big problem, but it was the hard liquor that was putting me over the edge. Yes, the beer, all that beer, yeah, it made me feel bad, but it was incorporating hard liquor into it that really set it over the edge and really got me thinking, man, I can't control my drinking anymore. Yeah, I can do it for a few days or a week, but then I get to that breaking point, and then I can't control it. And this went on for 6 weeks. And it got to a point where after about 3 weeks, I was thinking to myself, man, I don't know what's going to happen with my job, with COVID, with our family situation, with just everything that was going on in our lives. I didn't know where it was heading, and I was desperate. I was desperate for help, desperate for answers. And I got down on my hands and knees. I was crying, and I begged God to take me out of my pain, take me out of my addiction, and just please help me find solace. Please help me find peace, peace of mind, just peace and sobriety, and help, just help me. And I remember that, doing that, and then the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks or so thinking about that, and then getting to a point at the end where I blew up at my family, one of my daughters in particular. But then I got upset with my wife, and I started saying things that I would regret later. And this was at the end of the day, end of a binge, 11 o'clock at night. And I was black. I mean, I was not totally blacked out, but I was blacked out enough to the point where it was like, I don't remember everything I said and how I said it, but I just know that it was bad. And the parts that I do remember, I know that it was hurtful, not just to those two, but the other two kids in my house. And just, I didn't say anything to them, but they were there to witness that, and it made me really question myself. I got to sleep that night. I woke up in the morning and my heart rate was like 120, 130, and I was just guilt ridden, anxious. I wasn't necessarily nauseated or having like a headache or anything like that. It was more like this high heart rate and this anxiety and this feeling of guilt and shame. So I took both of them. Well, I took the one aside and apologized. My wife was at work. I apologized over text, and it was a situation where it was like I felt like I needed to apologize to my other older daughter as well, even though I didn't say anything to her that night. I felt like it was important for me to kind of just pull her aside, tell her I was sorry for what she had witnessed, and tell her that I was struggling with my alcohol use, struggling with my drinking. And I didn't really confide in my kids really ever about that. This was the first time, and it really kind of, was something that was eye-opening, because like I said, this video is desperate times call for desperate measures, and there was no time in my life that I was that desperate for solutions. And I told my oldest daughter, I said, I don't know if I can just quit completely because I might have withdrawal symptoms because of the amounts that I've been drinking this past 6 weeks. And but if I will try to probably wean myself off of alcohol, and just try that. Later on in the day, it really just took me all day to get down and come down from that anxiety and that high heart rate. Thankfully, I woke up the next day and it was a little bit better, but it was still, I mean, it was still high. It was still like 100, and it just, and every time I'd get up to walk around, it would go up and naturally, but I mean, it was just too high, and I felt like it was, I was gonna die. You know what I mean? I knew that I wasn't, because I struggled with anxiety and panic attacks pretty much for the last like 20 years of my life at that point, at least 15. Um, but man, it was like, I'm desperate here. I need to find a way out of this. So as you guys know, and I won't go into too much detail about this because most of you that are subscribers here, you know this story already. But for those of you new to the channel, This Naked Mind by Annie Grace was a book that I picked up and I read it cover to cover in about 2 or 3 days. I joined the community on the back of it at the end. I got on that community. The title was This Naked Mind: How to Control Alcohol. So my idea of controlling alcohol was going to be to have just one or two and be done. That wasn't in the cards for me, but I soon figured out that the way to control alcohol is just to not drink it. To get some months under your belt, go to some events, do some things that you normally would do while you were drinking. Don't do those things. Find other things to do. And I had actually somebody recently comment, a younger gentleman on live stream. He's 22. He struggles kind of with understanding himself, but he doesn't want to drink anymore. And I feel like it's an opportunity to share with you guys some of the things that I learned early on from not just This Naked Mind, but also just doing some introspecting, looking within, and really wanting to be done with alcohol. As I said, prayer was like the number one thing. That is what led me to where I ended up going ultimately. I do believe that in my heart. My faith is the reason why I ended up getting to where I wanted to be and needed to be and where God needed me to be. But that's not for everybody, and I understand that. But there's other things that happened, and for me, I give God the credit. But there are still things that can help you either way, whether you believe in God, whether you're a Christian or any other faith, whether you're not a believer in any of it. Either way, we can get to a point with these ways, and find a way out of that. And but it does take desperation sometimes. I learned later on that that's no way to pray, but God will respond to that prayer. If you're desperate and you need it and you need guidance, you need help, and you're willing to admit that, really just in your heart of hearts and in your soul, you are willing to say, I give it all to you. I need you. I need help. That's what happened for me. But regardless of that, the first and foremost thing was to find the literature that you resonate with. If you're watching this video, I hope you resonate with it. But if not, I urge you to find something that does. Whatever that is, that's what you should seek. We live in a time now where, we just type something in and we get automatic responses, and we get responses that are helpful, that we need to hear, that we appreciate hearing. And needless to say, at the beginning in 2020, AI wasn't as much of a thing then. Algorithms, I'm sure, had a huge role in that. But when I just typed in how to control my drinking, that's what came up, This Naked Mind. And that's the group that ultimately was there to help me get and stay sober, and really just stay on the path of being alcohol free. Another thing that I incorporated at the beginning of this was just doing things and finding things that I really enjoy doing. The post that I did, the poll that I did a few days ago. It's been about a week now, but it was overwhelmingly quitting alcohol or being alcohol free. The reason why we want to do it is to rediscover or discover new passions. That is really what is exciting to me about not drinking. We feel like we're going to miss out on something if we aren't drinking. I always felt like if I didn't get to that drinking session, it was like I was depriving myself of something. So it was filling up those times of the day when I knew that I was going to be craving alcohol, that I did something else. I turned to something else, and that was usually taking a walk or playing with my dog, or going somewhere with my daughter, or just doing something, and not being in the environment that I would normally would drink, which was at home, either on my couch or outside on my deck, drinking alone. And I didn't want to sit in that spot anymore, in those spots during that time. So I found other things to do that really brought me joy. Now, I felt like I benefited from COVID at that time because, first off, we weren't going anywhere, so there was no need to deal with social occasions. But the other thing was, I didn't want to spend money or take time off of work to, get alcohol free. But I found that was one of the biggest keys to being able to do it. So looking back on it, if I had known what I, know now, then I would suggest to you guys that you take a week or two off of work, and be by yourself at home or wherever it is that you prefer to be, but find things to do, heal from the drinking, don't drink. I recommended maybe trying non-alcoholic beverages, but if that's not something that you want to do right away, I understand that. It took me about 4 months to get to a point where I felt like I could um, try it without without worrying that I was going to be triggered to drink regular alcohol beer. But I did it, and I was glad that I tried it. And it's something that I drink every now and then. It's not something that I recommend, or that I buy all the time, or drink all the time. But it's a treat every now and then, and it's the prices are just the same. They taste the same, and there's so much variety now. But they cost about the same as regular. Sometimes in some cases more. So I don't necessarily recommend that either, because I mean, if we're not drinking, we're saving a ton of money. But it's just a matter of preference. This journey of recovery, of self discovery, it's not linear. It's different for everybody. It's jagged. It's up and down. There's urges to drink. There's triggers. There's feelings of guilt and shame that we still can hang on to. But it's talking those out. That's another thing. Is if you have someone close to you that you can talk that out with. If you don't, I suggest looking into that, maybe looking at who you have in your life and thinking about, well, who can I share something with that I need to share, like an urge to drink or a feeling that I'm having and why I'm having it. Uh, Investigating those feelings and not drinking is one of the solutions to this. And yes, that is a desperate measure, because for a lot of us, it's hard to talk that stuff out. For a lot of us, we drank to numb that. A lot of us, we used alcohol as a crutch to kind of avoid talking about how we feel, avoid tough conversations, avoid, uh, you know, telling ourselves the truth. And that is a key. That is a key that will unlock and unleash the potential that we have inside of us to not just get alcohol free, but thrive and grow in other aspects of our lives. That comes down the line. That comes later. At the beginning, it's just not drinking. And if you've got, if you're looking for this, if you're looking for this for your life, you're curious, or you're trying and you keep failing, it's not a failure. You are absolutely normal. And every single time that you drink and you feel that way, it's solidifying in your mind that drinking is no longer for you. I don't, I didn't know that at the beginning. Of course, we can look back and we can say, like, if I knew this, maybe I wouldn't have been in the position that I was in for so long. But it doesn't matter, because now we can start fresh and start over and start new. It's never too late. It doesn't matter how old or young you are. You can start, and you can have the life that you've been looking for. And it took that desperation for me to really get down into the trenches and know that this is what I have to do now. I have to do it. I mean, I'm in my 40s. I was in my 40s when I quit. I was 42 years old. I just turned 48 last month, and it's like it's time. You know what I mean? It's time to find a different way. I started drinking when I was 15 years old. Uh, Needless to say, when we start drinking, it's fun and games. But then in your 20s, it's still fun, but there's problems, and we might not have legal or health problems, but we're not developing the way that we were meant to develop, because the alcohol changes our brain chemistry. It makes us into somebody that we normally would not be if we weren't drinking or in addiction. And I mean, we know that we learn that when we're young. in school or from parents or, uh, you know, um, adults. And we're told that, and but we don't want to listen to that. So that's fine. The goal here is to use our drinking sessions to just learn from them, not mindlessly going into a drinking session uh, like we normally do and just pounding one drink after another, not thinking about anything, just numbing out, and then watching a movie or going to the bar with friends or whatever the case may be. Um, Another thing is, that I would suggest to 22-year-old me or the individual who had commented on the live stream, maybe take a break from those friends. I mean, I my best friend is a drinker. My wife, not a heavy drinker, but she has wine every now and then. Um, my in-laws, my just people, my friends, they drink. A lot of people drink. Um, not to oblivion. I don't have people really in my life. I don't think, unless I don't there's something I don't know about them, that that drink to oblivion like I did. But in any case, it's still sometimes it's hard to be around people that are drinking. And sometimes we just have to take a break from that and just kind of sacrifice some of those social things, some of those get-togethers, just for our own sobriety, our own need for success and being alcohol free. Not forever, uh, just for a time. Incorporate that in with your 1 or 2 weeks of um, not going to work and dealing with those stressors, or try, um, if you're still gonna go to work, try not going to those functions for a couple weeks or so, a month, until you feel like you might be on more stable ground. I felt like I was on stable ground about 30 days, but it really took to like 90 days or like 4 months to get to a point where I went to my first social get together where people were drinking. And I was drinking NA stuff, and I was talking to a acquaintance about my sobriety. I felt comfortable enough to share with him um, about it, and I even offered him an NA drink, an NA beer that I had brought with me. He tried it. He's like, it tastes the same. But most people aren't really, that are drinking, aren't really looking for NA stuff. You know what I mean? They're there to drink. It was always the alcohol. It was never the taste. You know what I mean? I mean, it was, yes, I do like having a beer, an NA beer every now and then now, and I do like the taste. But I'm done after one, and that wasn't the case when I was drinking. It was one after another, and I suspect that it's because of the alcohol and my addiction to it. I was never satisfied until I had a ton, and I got to the end of the day and I could just go to sleep. So so it's incorporating some of those things, those things that we normally would drink during those times, sitting, thinking about how we feel, talking it out with somebody, sharing on a sober group, watching videos like this, reading Quit Lit. All those things can help. And if you're in recovery and you're here and you still have like months or sometimes years, you're still watching these videos for a reason. And for me, I know that I still watch videos too, not how to get sober, but like see how they're doing. There's at least 3 or 4 people that I follow that have sobriety channels, and I don't watch every video, but like I might watch one here and there where the title or the topic might be something that it will be beneficial to me or to the group. So it helps to talk about it. You know what I mean? And that's really why I started this channel. Was I grew in my faith first and foremost, but I became more confident in that. But talking about where I was and where I've been, how I got there, and where I am today, all things that help in my recovery. They help me stay solidified in this journey, and it makes it so much more worthwhile to share it with you guys, to share it with people, and have open dialogue about it. No stigma attached. It is what it is. You know, I title these. Sometimes I title this like an alcoholic's journey, or the story of an alcoholic, or an alcoholic's day, or any of these things. I don't refer to myself as an alcoholic. I don't think it really helps the conversation. It makes for good titles. People resonate with the word alcoholic, and so that's just why I make those titles sometimes. But be that as it may, in any case, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you know, you can call it whatever you want to. Um, but I'm here and I'm present, and there's nowhere else I'd rather be than here with you guys, sober, alcohol free, whatever you want to call that, and just shooting the breeze, having conversations, making comments, and responding to comments. And please put down in the comments what you guys think, where you are with your alcohol free journey, uh, where you want to be with your alcohol free journey. Um, I've got so many other videos. I'll pin the link below to those. I'll pin the link to my sobriety group, Sobriety in the Storm. It's a private Facebook group. You can go there, click on there, and just answer a couple questions and join on there. I'm there 24/7 checking in. And there's a new hype button on the tool where if you like and you scroll over, you can hype this video. You can hype up to 3 videos for free. That would be helpful to grow the channel. I really want to grow the channel, the sobriety group, and just have as many people sharing this journey as possible. That's what makes it so worth it. So I'm glad that you guys are here. If I left anything out, let me know down in the comments. I can bring it up in another video. Um, so wherever you are in your journey, just take solace in the fact that you're here and you're doing something about it. So have a great day, everybody, and we'll talk to you on the next one.